All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for real people, just like you right there, and just like me right here. I've been doing this series on albums they don't want you listening to, and this one here, right at the top of the list or close to it, this is Dennis DeYoung looking through a viewfinder, definitely proving his boomer credentials with that particular album cover. Back cover, he's looking very Miami Vice. Yeah, really cool. Hair, by the way, even now is still intact, just colored a little bit differently at his age. The album is Boom Child, MCA Records. We used to call MCA the Musical Cemetery of America. Because if you were not Tom Petty or Tiffany, you probably weren't going to get a lot of promotional money spent on your album. And you know what MCA did for me on this one? They sent me the album. That's all they did. The promotional album always had a hole drilled through it. It's a write-off for them. Here, send it to this radio station. Maybe they'll play it. And no mention of what song they wanted me to play as a single. I had no idea. And later on, a video for the title track Boom Child would show up on, like, I don't know, MTV at 2 a.m. in the morning. I don't know when they actually played the video, but I saw the video later on, and I'm wondering, did this even air on any music station, music video channel? Most likely it didn't. Now, without knowing what song to play, I picked one because us old FM radio album rock guys, we could kind of do that. And I picked out a tune called Outside Looking In, which I think even today is a good choice. Although, you know, if I had a little synchronicity with the record label, I probably would have put Boom Child on for them to just help them promote the album. But I don't think they really wanted any help promoting the album. 8 songs, all of them winners, 1 power ballad at the end. So yes, of course, Dennis is the master of the power ballad. He helped invent the genre. I heard a video guy recently claim that Dennis invented the power ballad. I think he helped. I think Babe, if you're going to go to Babe and cite that as the first power ballad, my only criticism would be that Babe isn't really a power ballad. It's just a ballad. I think that Keep On Loving You, REO Speedwagon, that was the first power ballad. The tension between Rich Rath and Kevin Cronin wanting to write the pure ballad and Rich Rath wanting to rock out. There wasn't as much tension on Babe. I mean, Tommy Shaw comes in, does a stellar guitar solo, but the song was a bunch of noodling on a keyboard. So, I mean, if you want to say Babe was the first one, I won't vehemently disagree with you, but I think Babe was just a straight up ballad and turned into such a great song. And I have no criticism of that. I'm just saying, if you're going to use the word power ballad, I think on this record, the last track, which is a really good song, it is called Won't Go Wasted, and it is a definite power ballad. The entire thing from start to finish, my only complaint from the consumption standpoint, there are only 8 songs on this, but in those days you could put out an album with 8 or 9 songs and people would just be like, okay, that's an album. Today, they're wanting 12 or 13 songs, and it's real hard not to put out an album with that much music and not have some filler on there. This is no filler. There's a track on here that could have been #1 at rock radio, in addition to the one that I put out there. But there's a tune on here called Harry's Hands, which combines a storytelling, a blue collar thing about this guy, Harry, some great keyboard playing from Dennis DeYoung, but just great songwriting. And, you know, Dennis's worldview is definitely in play here. The entire theme of being a boom child and observing life as you go through it. reminiscing about days gone by, looking at, like in Harry's Hands, he's actually talking about how jobs are basically being shipped overseas. Here we are, what, 35 something years later or more. And my math is wrong there. So in 1989, that's like 32, 33 years ago. So yeah, all of that has occurred and more. So Dennis was writing about it. And this guy, Harry, he liked to go to the ball game. He didn't drink a lot. He just was like your all-American sort of blue collar guy. And it's kind of a precursor to, you know, things like Queen and Billy Joel, some of the things that they were doing at the time. I would say Boomchild is definitely a kind of warm up to We Didn't Start the Fire to some degree. Not as crazy, not as much subject matter going into it, but definitely, you know, ahead of Billy Joel a little bit, not by a lot, but a little bit. Who Shot Daddy is a great song. Beneath the Moon, which leads the record off. You might want to put that on after Desert Moon. I don't know, to just get the moon theme going. But this is a great record from start to finish. There is no filler here. Dennis has a great bunch of musicians. He does a lot on this record. His vision really comes through. And it's weird because I think one of the reasons this wasn't really promoted, other than the fact that the label just didn't budget in what they should for, you know, whoever they have on their label. The Little River Band came back with a couple of very strong records in the late 80s and early 90s, and they just blew those guys off too, maybe even more so. But what was tragic is that I think Styx was supposed to reunite at this point, that they were in talks to get everybody back. Tommy, his solo career wasn't going all that well, let's just be honest. And Dennis too, after his first album, the Desert Moon project there, he was kind of wandering through the decade a bit, waiting for Styx maybe to come back together again. He turned down some offers of bringing Styx back in without Tommy. He thought by the end of the decade, Tommy was going to come back. And then at the last minute, Tommy decided to go off with the damn Yankees. So Styx would reunite without Tommy. They'd bring in Glenn Burtnick, and that was a good version of Styx. And they had some success thanks to a rogue DJ who started playing Show Me the Way, and he used a little bit of the Iraq Gulf War, whatever that was, the Desert Storm. He used some of that audio, some news footage, sound effects, and mixed it in with the song. And the song just took off, went all the way, I think, to number 3. Again, classic Dennis DeYoung power ballad, and did well despite the fact that I don't think the record label really cared all that much to promote the album. But it was a Styx reunion, but it wasn't with Tommy. And I think this album was kind of, you know, hurry up and get this over with, Dennis. I know you've got this solo album, hurry up so we can get Styx going again. And then Styx never got going again. This didn't get the promotion it should have. And the new Styx album didn't do all that well, although Damn Yankees, their debut, was a huge success. And when you've got that kind of lineup where you've got Jack Blades and Tommy Shaw and Ted Nugent, yeah, that's a super group. And Warner Brothers spent some money getting that thing off the ground, and it was great material. But that was also a fairly short-lived thing where the second album completely died and flopped, even though, again, it was really great material. Could be on my list of albums you should go listen to, the second Damn Yankees album. But this one here, if you're a Dennis DeYoung fan, if you're a Styx fan, 8 great songs from start to finish. They're immediately catchy. They're immediately interesting. The instrumentation, a little dated here and there. Obviously, if you're a child of the 80s musically, you're going to like it. You're not going to think it's cheesy, but for some, you know, it's not rough and tumble enough maybe for a few of those hardcore testosterone Styx fans of today who don't embrace the Dennis DeYoung of the past and blame Dennis for pretty much everything bad that ever happened in Styx. But quite honestly, Dennis could have sandbagged this material and brought it to the table for a Styx album. And again, if you had the right promotions, A&M Records again, and they're saying, hey, we're going to promote Styx, most of these songs could have been on the radio. They're all really good. So that's my review. Again, music they don't want you listening to. It's Boom Child from Dennis DeYoung. Kind of hard to find, and it's in my collection. Took me a while to get a copy, but I'm sure you can find a copy if you really want to. That's been the general rule. People will ask me, where do I get this? Maybe eBay would be the best place to look for some of these albums that are definitely out of print.